Saluto e ringrazio tutti gli intervenuti e i presenti a questa conferenza stampa assieme a rappresentanti di 12 famiglie israeliane che si trovano qui a Roma per incontrare Papa Francesco e altri esponenti governativi e istituzionali con l'obiettivo di sollecitare e ottenere il prima possibile la liberazione dei loro cari e familiari rapiti e tenuti in ostaggio da Hamas a Gaza. Siamo in tanti qui, vi chiedo di, siccome non abbiamo tanto spazio, di rispettare anche le distanze, ok? Non avvicinarvi troppo se ci sono dei giornalisti dopo che vogliono parlare, ok? Voce non si sente? Ok, ok. Quindi vi chiedo cortesemente, siccome siamo in tanti, di non avvicinarvi troppo alle famiglie dopo quando ci saranno anche le domande dei giornalisti, per lasciare spazio a tutti per vedere, ci sono tante telecamere qua. Allora iniziamo? traduco soltanto in ebraico. בירכתי לשלום את האיטלקים והודיתי להם על הנוכחות שלהם כאן עם המטרה שלכם שלשמה הגעתם לרומא לפגוש את האפיפיור פאפה פרנצ'סקו ולבקש את החזרת החטופים הביתה בהקדם האפשרי. ביקשתי מהעיתונאים לא להתקרב יותר מדי כדי לאפשר מרחב נעים ונוח. אני עכשיו אציג את השגריר שלנו לוותיקן. Invito adesso Sua Eccellenza Raffaele Schutz, ambasciatore di Israele presso la Santa Sede, a prendere la parola.
Since October 7, Israel is not the same country. Okay, I will try to be as loud as I can. Since October 7, Israel is not the same country as it used to be. And we are dealing with a tragedy. We are dealing with a tragedy of biblical terms. Now, the media, as media, frequently goes from one crisis to another, but in Israel, since October 7, it seems that time is frozen. We are living in a different time. And the most crucial and important part of it right now is our concern for the welfare and the safe return as soon as possible of the families that were, the individual and families that were kidnapped and are now in Gaza. I will immediately leave the floor to the families. The meeting with the Pope this morning, I just want to say that it is part of an effort to keep the issue alive in the conscience of the world. Because as I said, media goes from one crisis to another, but for us, this is the only thing on our schedule right now. And we need the media attention and the world attention in order to make the return of our dear ones as soon as possible. And I say our dear ones because we are one family. You have here members of 12 families. All in all, we are speaking about 240 people, individuals that are being held, are being kidnapped in Gaza, but we are all one family. Before concluding, I just would like to thank this center, the Pitiliani, for hosting us, especially to Rosella Veneziano and Emanuela Rimini. Thank you very much. We appreciate the gesture. And now I leave the floor to the families.
Avete anche bisogno di una traduzione in italiano? È stato chiaro l'ambasciatore? Tutto chiaro? Ok, allora posso procedere. Allora, Chiedo ora ai rappresentanti delle famiglie di parlarci molto brevemente dei loro familiari rapiti. אני אבקש מכם לספר בקצרה מכל אחד מכם את הסיפור.
טוב, שלום לכם. מלואיס קוניו, אני חי בקיבוץ ניר עוז. כפי ששמעתם, בשבת השביעי לאוקטובר הותקפנו על ידי מחבלים מחמאס שפרצו לנו את הבתים, שרפו לנו, אנסו אותנו והרגו אותנו.
Buongiorno, mi chiamo Luis Conio e sono dal kibbutz Nir Oz. Il sabato 7 ottobre siamo stati attaccati dai terroristi di Hamas che sono penetrati nelle nostre case, l'hanno bruciate, hanno abusato delle donne e ci hanno anche uccisi.
בנוסף לזה, אתם רואים פה אני מחזיק הרבה תמונות, הידיים לא מספיקות לי כדי לראות את כל בני משפחה שלי שנחטפו באותו יום לעזה, כולל ילדים, בנות, תינוקות ועוד.
Come potete vedere, inoltre, io tengo qui nelle mie mani tante foto, tante immagini di tutti i miei familiari. Le mie mani non bastano per tenere tutte queste immagini dei miei familiari che sono stati rapiti in quel giorno, tra cui ci sono dei bambini, figlie, neonati.
אז אני רוצה להגיד לכם שאני היום נמצא במצב שאין לי בית, כי נשרפה, אין לי משפחה, חצי משפחה איננה, ואני נמצא במצב שאני לא יודע מה יהיה מחר, ובטח לא מה יהיה מחרתיים.
In questi giorni non ho più la mia casa, metà della mia famiglia sono rapiti in questo momento e non so cosa succederà domani.
רוצה להודות לכם על זכות שנתתם לי דיברתי לפחות. תודה רבה.
Grazie per l'opportunità di parlare qui davanti a voi oggi. Grazie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Moshe Leinberg. I live in Jerusalem. My wife and daughter and our family dog were visiting my sister-in-law in Kibbutz Nir Yitzchak in the south of Israel on the 7th of October. At around 11:15, armed intruders broke into the house and they broke into the safe room and they took my daughter, who's 17 years old, Mia, and my wife, Gabriela, and my wife's sister, Clara Marman, and her life partner, Luis Har, and my brother-in-law, Fernando Marman. They took them out of the safe room and they fired bullets into the safe room door to terrorize them, to scare them. And they herded them into one of their vehicles and took them away. We haven't seen or heard anything since. It's been 47 days and I'm alone. Every day I wake up, it's the same day. And I wait a minute or two to listen for the familiar sounds that I'm used to hearing, and there's nothing. Our dog is missing, and my family has been taken. In my life, it's not what it was, and it never will be again. Thank you for listening to my story.
Hello, I'm Nicole. I'm his little sister. This is Nick, my big brother. It was taken from his military base on the 7th of October. When the last time I heard his voice, he was telling me that he is fine, he will be fine, and he know how to keep himself safe. My life and my family life is not the same. He was my best friend, he was my big brother, he was my safe place, and the terrorists that taking him hostage took the safe place of me. I want to I want your help so I could hug him again and I could see him back home with my family.
Good day. My name is Evgenia Kozlova. My son, Andrei Kozlov, came to Israel about 1 year ago. He came from Russia, from St. Petersburg. He came to study. Andrei fell in love with Israel. He decided to receive Israel citizenship. On October the 7th, he was kidnapped from music festival Nova. Andrei is alone in Israel. All his family, me, his dad, his young brother, his grandparents live in Russia. I don't know what to do, because I should save my son. I should look for my son in Israel, but my younger son is in Russia. Now I don't know, is he alive or not? And everybody of us need help of Italy, need help of all the world to save all the hostages. Thank you.
My name is Michael Levy. I'm Or Levy's brother. On October 7th, Or and Einav decided to take a break from their day-to-day life and celebrate in a music festival. They wanted to celebrate peace and love, but when they got there, Einav was murdered and Or was kidnapped into Gaza. Einav and Or has a 2-year-old son. That's his teddy bear. Since that day, he is looking for them, he is calling for them, he wants to go home. His whole life changed. Our life changed. We don't know anything about his condition. We don't know if he's injured. We haven't heard from him ever since that day. We don't sleep. We barely eat. And we want him home now. We want Almog to have at least a father. He already lost his mother, and he needs his father. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mayan. I'm the oldest daughter for Dror Kaplun. He has 2 more children, Noam and Moran, and 5 grandchildren. On October 7th, the Black Saturday, Dror and his wife were taken from their house in Kibbutz Be'eri. Hamas led them handcuffed for 300 meters from their house. Later on, Marceli's wife was murdered together with their neighbors. Dror was injured, but we don't know the severity of the injury. And we are all waiting for him. His oldest grandson has a birthday tomorrow. He's going to be 11 years old. This is the first birthday that he's not going to be with us. Let it be the last one. We need to bring him home. We need to bring them all home now. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Yuval. My father, Alex, and my uncle, Itzik, were kidnapped from Kibbutz Nir Oz on the 7th of October. My uncle got shot while he was kidnapped. My father is a 75 years old man with a serious heart disease, and he has to get his medication daily to survive. We don't know if he getting medication. We don't know if he survived this 47 days. We just want him back for his 13 children, 13 grandchildren, and 4 children. My father is a historian of the Holocaust. He educated everybody, thousands in the world, about learning from the Holocaust. And now is a second Holocaust by Nazi Hamas. And all the world need to understand what happened in the 7th of October, all the war crimes we had, and condemn Hamas and bring them home. Bring them home now. The clock is ticking for them.
I would like to stand to see you all and say thank you for listening to us. My name is Alexandra, and I'm here on behalf of my sister Karina, and you can see her in this picture. She's my only sister, and she's all I have in this world. She was kidnapped from her bed in her pajamas with other girls. Other girls were murdered, and she was taken hostage. My sister is a pure, innocent child. She wants to help people. And this is why I'm here. I want to ask you to help my sister so she can come home and then help others. I can remember crystal clear 2 things. The first is what she wrote me on the 7th of October morning before she was taken. She wrote me, and I'm citing, "If I won't make it alive, please be happy in your life and take care of mother and father or life. Do not think and sorrow, live." This is her wish. This was her wish. And the second thing is that by saying that, she made me remember when we were young, when we didn't understand a lot of our lives. She always laughed and told that I will die before her because I'm the older sister, and she will live longer than I. And I'm here talking about it because I really want to die before her. And every time that she is there with all the other hostages, every minute, every hour is a critical time for them to stay alive. We do not know anything about them. We know that some are injured, some need medicine. Every one of them need to come home, and not in coffins. They should come home to tell their stories, to tell the stories of the other people who were murdered, so they can be our future. We need them safe and sound and alive. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Yehuda. This is my son, Nimrod Cohen, 19 years old, who was captured with his friends near Reim. Since he's captured, and we saw on Hamas video how he was captured, we didn't hear a word about him. We don't know what his condition. Red Cross never, I don't know how to say it, never bothered, and never made any efforts to go inside and see the conditions of him, of all the other captured, how they are doing, who is injured, who is sick, who needs medicine. And our life, just from that day, changed. We don't have day and night. We're only focusing of his return and the return of all the other captured people back home to Israel. Thank you very much.
My name is Rachel, and this is my son, Hirsch Goldberg Poland. He's my only son. He turned 23 on October 3rd and went to the music festival with his best friend from childhood to celebrate. When the massacre started on Saturday morning, he and his friend and a bunch of other young people from that festival hid in a roadside bomb shelter, which came under attack. First, Hamas threw in hand grenades, then they fired in an RPG, and then they sprayed the room with machine gun fire. Most of those young kids were dead, but some of the lucky ones were trapped under the dead bodies, and they told us what they saw. Hirsch and two other young men were wounded but alive, and Hamas came in and told them to stand up and come outside. When Hirsch stood up, they all told us that his left arm had been blown off from the elbow down. We have since seen a video that we have of him and these two other boys being marched out of the bomb shelter and put onto a Hamas pickup truck, which then headed toward Gaza. His last phone cell signal was at 10:25 in the morning, October 7th. And that's the last time that we saw him. He sent us 2 text messages that we received as this was all unfolding at 8:11. The first text message said, "I love you." And the second one said, "I'm sorry." And I think he knew that we were going to be suffering terribly. And he felt bad for us. And he was apologizing. That was 47 days ago that my heart has been buried in Gaza. And every day I change the number. And I pray and hope that the world will help all of us get our hearts out of Gaza. And I also worry for the other innocent people who are in Gaza also suffering on the other side. There are good, innocent Palestinian people who are also there, and we are aware of that. And I thank you all for coming to hear our story and to keep our stories alive until our loved ones come home and we can take the number off of the chest.
Hello, I'm Yair from Kibbutz Be'eri. On October 7th, Hamas entered my kibbutz and killed about 85 people, kidnapped around 30 people, altogether about 110, which is about 1/10 of my kibbutz, of the population of my kibbutz. I know each one of them personally, and amongst them is my sister and my niece, Hila, who's going to be 13 years old next week. I was hiding under my bed because I thought I don't want to be killed and I don't want to be kidnapped. I'll just pretend that nobody is at home, and I hope they will not find me. My sister wrote me at 12:03 in the noon that she's okay, and then at 12:05 she sent a message that she's being kidnapped. Since then, I don't have any information from her. I know she's been kidnapped with my niece in Gaza and another girl that was staying in their home named Emily. I don't know if she saw the sky since then. I don't know if she's hurt. I don't know if she's able to go to the bathroom in a normal toilet, take a shower, get the medicine if she needs. I don't know if the Red Cross didn't even did anything to make it happen. I'm afraid not. And I want to send a message to everyone who listens that Hamas needs to let Red Cross visit all the hostages, the kidnapped people, and of course we urge Hamas and the world to pressure Hamas to let all our kidnapped people go and return to Israel. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nadav Kipnis. I am also from Kibbutz Be'eri. On the 7th of October, 12 members of my family were either murdered or kidnapped. Both my parents and my uncle and my father's caregiver were murdered in the slaughter. The terrorists entered their house and shot them in the safe room. Other than them, 7 members of my family were kidnapped. My cousin and her husband, their 2 children, Nave and Yahel, which are 3 and 8 years old. My aunt, Shoshan, my uncle's sister, Sharon, and her daughter, which is 12. Parents cannot be saved anymore. We can't bring them back. But at least I have assurance that I know what happened and that they're dead. These people, all of them, we have no clue other than the videos that some of us have or some stories about them being kidnapped. We don't know if they're alive. We know some of them are injured. We know some of them need medication. We don't have anything other than that. We are here in this very difficult situation, spreading the word, these awful stories, to make sure that no one forgets, that people will try to put themselves in our shoes, to have even the slightest feeling of not knowing where your family is, but knowing that they are in the hands of people that can't be trusted, and to urge anyone in power to make sure that they will be released safe and sound, and at the least give us information if they're even alive and if they're being taken care of. So thank you for coming here and trying to spread this message.
Okay, so I invite you now to ask questions, as all the members of the delegation, as you saw, they speak English, so you can ask in English. If someone needs to ask in Italian, there's no problem, I'm here, okay? So I'll give you the time for that. There is a microphone, so just a second.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. I'm Phil Pulala from Reuters, and I have a few questions that you can share around yourselves or whatever. Just one second. This morning, the Pope, I just want to quote him precisely, so just bear with me one second. After he met you, he said, "This is what wars do." Now, I'm not quoting because I can't find it precisely, but he said, "This is what wars do, but this has gone beyond war. This is terrorism." So he was equivocating. He didn't say one side was practicing terrorism. He obviously implied that both sides were. I would like you to, anyone who wants to comment on that statement, and also can you tell us a little bit about your meeting with him this morning, which is the reason why you're here, and also what are your feelings about the agreement that has been reached this morning for the release of 50 hostages?
רוצה לענות, פשוט להדליק את המיקרופון.
Could you please repeat your names as you answer the questions, because we can't see them from back here. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Yehuda Cohen. Regarding the meeting with the Pope, I wasn't there. My daughter was there. But it was pretty much disappointing that the meeting should have been long enough for all people to speak And from what I heard, most of the people, including my daughter, didn't get the chance to speak. So I know that his declaration was something general, we have to end war and so on. Not really a mention of Hamas. So in a way, we came all the way from Israel here to meet him. My daughter came all the way from Israel to meet him. And it's kind of, okay, end the war, and I don't really have time for you. This is my impression. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we know the terms of the exchange of 50 hostages. These are women and children. I know my son isn't part of this exchange. I don't know how long I should wait. I remember that Gilad Shalit was a hostage for 5 years. And if each of the remaining hostages is released once every 5 years, then my son will return in 1,000 years. I'm afraid it will be very difficult for me. It's all.
I want to add, my name is Alexandra. I want to add a couple of sentences about the meeting with the Father, with the Holy Father, the Pope. I want to say thank you for his time, even if brief, for meeting us and listening to us. Even the few person who spoke, they delivered the message of our delegation and the message of the others who couldn't come all the way to Italy. His time is precious, and we are very grateful and thankful for him listening to us, and we are sure that he has done things before the meeting, and he is doing currently, and he will do in the future things that will help us and our families. We are all against the war. We do not want innocent to be injured or hurt or be murdered in any side. We want our beloved ones back. This is the main message. Thank you.
My name is Nadav Kipnis. I wanted to say that what you alluded to, that both sides are doing acts of terrorism, is a false equivalence. Hamas and the terrorists attacked innocent people. Children were taken, children were killed, women were raped in a party. Hamas, on the other hand, Israel is attacking Hamas, and there are casualties, and these are very unfortunate, but they are happening because Hamas is using their civilians, the Gazans, as human shields. We saw just some time ago that the Israeli army are the ones who managed to let the Gazan citizens leave and move to a safe space. So these are, what you're making is a false equivalence. And regarding the meeting with the Pope, I felt that he was very compassionate and he listened to us, and he understood our sorrow, and he told us that he was acting and is acting to make sure that they will return. Sadly, not everyone managed to speak, but we worked with the things that we have.
correct you. I wasn't making any false equivalency. It was the Pope who, I was reading you almost word for word what the Pope
I'm
said
sorry,
this morning extemporaneously, please.
Sure.
So I just would make that clear to you, because you said what I said. So you are saying the Pope is making false equivalency. Is that correct? Could you let him answer, please? He seems to be
In our meeting, the Pope did not say both acts. From what I understood, he talked about our families being hostages as an act of terrorism. I did not get the feeling that he said that Israel is committing any type of acts of terrorism.
This is...
Yuda, il primo che ha parlato. יהודה, מבקשים שתחזור בעברית, אני אתרגם לאיטלקית בתמצית את מה שאמרת, הם רוצים פשוט את הטקסט הזה באיטלקית.
יהודה כהן, אני אחזור על זה בעברית. בתמצית מה שאני אמרתי זה שאני מאוכזב שהאפיפיור הקדיש זמן מועט, הרבה פחות זמן ממה שהיה צפוי. הבת שלי הייתה שמה, הייתה אמורה לספר את הסיפור של הבן שלי, של אחיה התאום, ולא הגיע לזה. מעבר לזה שההצהרות שלו הן הצהרות שמדברות על לעצור את המלחמה, לעצור את ההרג, אבל הוא לא מתייחס ספציפית לחמאס כארגון טרור שיצר את המצב הבלתי אפשרי הזה.
Allora, quello che avevo detto prima è che sono deluso che il Papa aveva dedicato poco tempo di quello che aspettavo. Mia figlia doveva parlare anche lei, raccontare la storia di suo fratello gemello, non ce l'ha fatta per questioni di tempo. Le sue dichiarazioni parlavano di fermare la guerra e l'omicidio, ma non specificamente, non parlava di Hamas e non l'ha definito come organizzazione terroristica, e quello mi è dispiaciuto.
I have to say that I personally don't agree with what he said. I felt like the conversation with the Pope was very helpful. I think he took his time, listened to us. It's true that not all of us had the opportunity to talk, but at least half of us, if not more, had the opportunity to talk and present everything to the Pope. I felt he listened to us. And about the comparison between what the reporter just asked before, I don't recall that the Pope said that both sides are doing acts that are terror. I felt he said that about what Hamas said. He said this is more than war, this is terror, and he didn't say that what Israel is doing is terror. This is what I remember from the conversation.
It was afterwards. You didn't hear it because it was at the general audience. We're talking about two different things. He said, what I quoted before, at the general audience, not in your meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you had this meeting. Sure.
Just to be clear.
Okay, thank you.
Allora, ripeto soltanto la prima cosa che ha detto che lui non è d'accordo con quello che dice la persona che sta a fianco a lui. Secondo lui l'appuntamento col Papa è stato molto molto efficace, ci ha ascoltato. Sì, è vero, non siamo riusciti tutti a parlare, ad avere la parola, però ci ha ascoltato e tutte le storie che abbiamo raccontato, quindi non sono d'accordo. Other question?
I'm saying that if anyone is making the claim that both acts are acting in ways of terror, that is a false equivalence. Hamas is using their citizens as human shields. while Israel is trying to protect their civilians, and Hamas attacked their civilians directly. No one in Be'eri who was murdered or kidnapped was a soldier during a war. They were civilians, they were citizens, and many others who were killed were not killed for them being soldiers or warriors. They were killed for being Jews. They were killed for being in Israel, and the casualties that happen in Gaza by the Israeli army are happening because of Hamas is using their citizens as human shields, while the IDF is trying their best to avoid that and even try to moving those citizens to a safe space.
Io stavo parlando di equivalenza, volevo dire che Hamas sta usando i civili innocenti come scudo umano, mentre Israele sta cercando di proteggere i suoi civili. Nessuno dei civili innocenti di kibbutz Be'eri, il mio kibbutz, non è stato ucciso perché era un soldato israeliano, sono stati uccisi tutti perché erano ebrei. Ed è quello che sta succedendo in Israele in questi giorni. Invece quello che sta succedendo a Gaza tra l'esercito israeliano e i civili palestinesi succede perché Hamas li sta usando come scudo umano e l'esercito israeliano sta provando di non ferire ovviamente civili innocenti e sta provando addirittura a spostarli verso sud dove non ci sono gli attacchi, i bombardamenti, per salvarli.
I also want to add, my name is Yair. People forget that as we speak now, Hamas is still firing rockets towards Israel. Each one of these rockets is meant to kill civilians. The fact that they don't kill is because Israel has Iron Dome. So even right now, Hamas is trying to kill Israeli citizens. Okay? So please don't make the comparison that Hamas and Israel are both doing terror.
Ci tengo ad aggiungere che le persone tendono a dimenticare che Hamas sta ancora lanciando dei missili in questi giorni verso Israele per uccidere civili innocenti. Noi per fortuna abbiamo quel sistema Iron Dome che è cupola di ferro per proteggere i civili, però ci tengo a dire che non possiamo paragonare e chiamare terrorismo quello che sta facendo Israele.
If you would like to have the diplomatic version of this, just to add up the diplomatic or the official answer to what was being asked, you know that as diplomats we never refer directly to the things the Pope says. This is the privilege of this table, so I will not refer directly to what he said or what was quoted. But I will say in principle that, and in a way in line of what Nadav said and Yair, there is a simple distinction. I mean, one side is attacking civilians for the sake of attacking and killing civilians. By the way, he's murdering, raping, and taking civilians from the Israeli side, and at the same time, he doesn't care about the civilians of supposedly his own side. As you heard, he uses them as human shield. One of the Hamas speakers also said that the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are not a responsibility of Hamas. They should be taken care of by the UN, etc., etc. So we have one side killing citizens, not caring for his own citizens, and we have another side, Israel, who is engaged in a war of self-defense in order to protect our own citizens, and while doing so, we abide to international law, trying to minimize as much as possible the casualties on the other side. And if there is a declaration or any pronouncement that fails to see the distinction between, I would say even the moral distinction between the two sides, then I would say that maybe some amendment should be done. But again, I refer generally to what we see since October 7th. Thank you.
A quick question. My name is Colm Flynn from EWTN News, and I want to thank you for sharing your stories with us all. A question maybe for Ms. Goldberg and Mr. Limeberg at the end there. The Pope has called for peace. He has met with you and heard some of your stories. What more would you like to see Pope Francis and the Vatican and the Catholic Church do? Maybe you first, Ms. Goldberg.
Thank you for the question. First of all, I think the Holy Father has a lot of influence in the entire world. Aside from the 1.3 billion Catholics that certainly revere and respect him, I think he's very respected in the Muslim world, in the Jewish world, really irrespective of religious background. And so I think when he speaks, the world really listens. I think that all of these hostages have to go home. The whole world is not really aware that the hostages come from almost 30 different countries. They span in age from 9 months until 87 years old. They also, many of these hostages are also Christian, Muslim. There are Muslim Arabs that were also kidnapped on that day, that have been in captivity for 47 days. There are Jews, there are Hindus, there are Buddhists. And so this issue of the hostages is really a global humanitarian catastrophe and needs to be treated as such. I think I don't count my chickens before they hatch. I don't know if they have that saying in Italian. So I'm not counting hostages being freed in this deal until I see them walk over the border and be embraced safely. And then, God willing, these 50 hostages are released. That still leaves another 190 hostages that need to be released. And in the meantime, we would like the International Red Cross or any other humanitarian aid organization on planet Earth to go and see every single hostage and let us know, are they alive? Have they been treated? Are they getting the care that they need? And we feel that the Holy Father has the influence in the world to make those things happen. And I felt very embraced by him this morning. I felt very heard and respected. It was shorter than we wanted, and it was painful for people who didn't get to speak. But I felt his love and his support, and I believe that he will do everything he can do to help us.
Mr. Limeberg, if you want to add to that.
Okay, thank you for the question. I really don't think there's too much I can add to what Rachel said. I obviously agree with her. I'll just kind of expand on one aspect of it. I think that, as Rachel said, His Eminence has a lot of influence, and he speaks to a lot of people. He gives sermons. And I think that a way to achieve at least some of the aims that Rachel mentioned would be through his reminding his flock, the congregation, the world, that about what happened on October 7th, so that it shouldn't be forgotten for as long as possible, obviously, at the very least until all of the hostages are returned home.
Hi, sorry. My name is Andrea Lanzetta. I'm from Italian magazine TPI. I want to thank the families for sharing your stories. I want to ask this. Some families have asked the Israeli politicians not to capitalize on your suffering, especially far-right ones. We have seen one party in your government voting against the agreement, the swap deal. What do you think about this?
Yehuda, son of Nimrod Cohen. My answer is very simple. This is not the issue. Okay, that's not the angle. The angle is Hamas. What's the coalition in Israel does, who votes for and against? This is internal politics. The issue is releasing all the hostages as soon as possible and now. Thank you.
I'm from the French Public Radio. Basic questions. How many were you this morning? Because one of you told he wasn't at the meeting with the Pope. And how long did it took?
We are here 20 people who are representing the families, but in the meeting we were only 12, and it took around 20 minutes, the meeting.
I think around 7 or 8 families.
Other questions? So, grazie a tutti ancora per essere intervenuti e buona giornata.